everyone. This is Tagore Almeida from the Uncultured Company, and welcome to my podcast, A Pint of Imbecile Wisdom. Everyday people with everyday stories and great inspirations. And today, I don't know whether I should be saying an everyday person. I have with me one of the most respected and well renowned directors of photography from the Hindi film industry. He has been in the industry for the past 30 odd years and done close to 30 films as well. Some of them, you might remember, for those of you who follow the Hindi film industry, he's been the man behind the lens for films like Gadar, Prem Katha, Atish, and of course, one of the most iconic films coming out of the Hindi film industry, Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. So I have with me Najib Khan. So Najib, thank you so much for doing this and welcome to my podcast.
Thank you very much.
It's so good.
Why?
Such an honor to be able to be talking to you. Thank you so much for doing
My
it.
pleasure.
So,
My pleasure. My pleasure.
oh wow, thank you. So Najib, there's no denying the fact that you've achieved so much and you've been associated with some of the greatest films that have come out of the Hindi film industry, and we'll talk about that as well, especially one particular film. But I would really like to know a bit more about you as a person. So, what's your background? Tell us a little about yourself. Where did you come from? And so forth.
Well, I was born in Pune,
Okay.
a town in Maharashtra, and I was raised in Pune by my grandmother and uncles. My parents, I have five siblings, so three younger siblings and parents lived in Bombay. Two elder siblings and myself lived in Pune with my grandmother. And I'm from Dastur school. I did my SSC. Those times it was SSC. 11th was known as SSC. So I did my SSC from Pune, and college I joined in Bombay.
Okay. So that brought you to Bombay. So obviously,
Yeah.
so you did your college in Bombay, and then what happened after that?
In my, I did college just for 1 year. When I
Okay.
joined college, in the very first year, my father had suffered huge losses. So out of the six of us, one of us had to opt out and work. The elder two siblings were, in their final year of college, and the youngest were in school. So it was me who had to opt out. I did a few odd jobs here and there, and then one day, my father took me to his friend who was a DOP, director of photography, and said, "You better join here and learn some camera work." I was very happy because earlier I had seen my uncle take group photographs, in Pune. I always wanted to buy a camera and take some photographs, but here I got a chance straight away to join that person, Mr. Munir Khan, as a apprentice. I joined him.
How old were you then?
Yeah,
How old were you when you joined this gentleman?
I should have been 18.
18. Wow.
Yeah.
So you started helping this gentleman, being his assistant, and probably lifting more lights and more cameras than doing actual
Yeah.
camera work.
We were never allowed to go close to the camera. We were first introduced to the lights and all other, menial job kind of things. We
And
had to work hard.
For how long did you do that, Najib?
That went on for a year, and then I was promoted as his assistant. There are different stages as an assistant, You become the third assistant, then second, then first, and then you become the operative cameraman. It's a long process.
Okay. So you became an assistant, still not getting a chance to touch the camera, probably. But sorry.
When I became an assistant, I started doing a bit of focus pulling.
Yeah.
The cameraman only operates the camera, someone else has to pull the focus. So I learned focus pulling, and then, I was close to the camera, started discovering various aspects of camera. You know?
Okay. So then you got a chance. So your entry into the industry was through your father's friend and your father's
Yeah.
introduction. So I guess that helped. And in those days, it wasn't easy to get into the industry like it is today. You know, today
Yeah.
there's a lot more chances for you to know somebody or the other in the industry. But in those days, it wasn't easy to get a break into the industry at all. So here,
Earlier when?
sorry,
Yeah, yeah. No. Go on.
no, please carry on. Sorry. Yeah.
See, those times there was no institute. You know? There was no Pune Institute kind of thing. So everybody learned, by experience, by getting into the industry through someone. It was only through experience that we learned. We used to buy a few books, read here and there, and out of experience we used to learn. But today there are institutes and schools and film schools and so much stuff that you just bring your certificate, then you're selected somewhere and you join the industry.
Yeah, of course. And there's a lot more opportunity. It's a much bigger industry now than it was then, at least in terms of workforce. So, am I right to assume that your first film was this classic film called Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar? Am I correct?
You're partly correct, because Jo Jeeta was the first film to be released.
I see. Okay.
And before that, I got a break from. I got a break with a film called Prem Yog,
Sanjay Kapoor.
starring Rishi Kapoor and Madhu.
Rishi Kapoor and Madhu. Okay.
That is Prem Yog. So this was my friend whose father was a producer, and this friend of mine wanted to direct the film, and he had seen me working, so he offered me this job. He said, he wanted some young DOP with him, so he offered me this job, and I got this film.
Okay. So let's talk about Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar, a big production house, Nasir Hussain Saab, directed by the one and only Mansoor Khan. So how did you get that opportunity to be the director of photography for such a film?
That is very interesting, I'll tell you. When I started shooting Prem Yog, this shoot went on for 6 days. And then the film got stalled. For some reason, it got stalled. So I was without work for 1.5 years. It was very frustrating. I used to, I didn't know exactly what to do, because this film was on floor and there's no other work coming in. People are saying they call you unlucky. They say, okay, it's so long, no other producer has approached you. So for 1.5 years, I was just without work. And one fine day, when I came home at around 10:30, I was about to retire. I got a phone call. Those times it was that MTNL phone in India where the number never used to flash on it. So I got a phone call. The voice on the other side told me, "Is it Najib?" I said, "Yes, who's that?" He said, "I'm Nasir Hussain. Can you come to the office tomorrow at 11 o'clock?
No way.
Okay. And he disconnected. So I thought somebody's playing a prank. I didn't know what it was. And the number didn't flash on the phone, so I didn't know whom to contact. Next day morning, 11 o'clock, I reached his office. There were 5-7 people sitting over there. I also went and sat down. There was a typist cum secretary sitting opposite me. And Nasir Hussain walked in. He went straight to his cabin. Now the secretary would call out one name. The man used to enter in 10-12 minutes. He used to move out. Now there were only 2 people left, me and the other guy. So I started feeling embarrassed. I said, oh shit, supposing he hasn't called me, what? So I left the office. I went across. There was a restaurant. I had tea there. Then I said, I'll take the last chance. I called up the office. I had taken the number from there. I called up the office. I said, the voice said, Nasir Hussain Films. I said, ma'am, this is Najib Khan. She said, oh, Sir is waiting for you. I was so excited. I just ran to the office. That lady says, you were sitting here now. I said, yeah, I was sitting here, but then there was some other work, so I had to. And then Jo Jeeta happened.
So where had Nasir Saab heard about you? How did somebody must have given you a number?
Yeah, that is, Nasir Hussain went to the laboratory to procure negative. Whenever you start a film, you have to approach the film lab and procure a negative and make a contract and stuff. So he reached the lab where all films get processed and there is a theater, small screenings happen there. So he went to the lab to procure that. He came down, he met the film supervisor and said that his son is starting a film and he needs a new DOP. So he said, new DOP, he said, just peep in the theater. There's a trial going on. And this was my friend's trial. We shot for 6 days. He was showing this trial to the distributors. So he peeped in, he saw, took my number and called me.
Wow, this is magic. This is really magic. Especially somebody like Nasir Hussain, who in those days was probably one of the top most production houses in the
I was very lucky to get it.
Absolutely. Well, destiny, I'm sure. And how fortunate we are that all these years later, we got exposed to enjoy your talent with so many films that you've done. So let's talk about Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. So you got this job by Nasir Hussain and Mansoor Khan. Mansoor Khan is obviously going to debut as a director. So he's also a newcomer, I assume, at that time. And there were a lot of newcomers in that film. I think Farah Khan was also doing her first film as a dance director. There were a lot of new people in that film. But it was also, what was important about that film was it was also one of the first sports films that had to come out in that era. You know, it was a coming of age film, but it was also a film that was heavily centric on sports and competition, and the growing of characters through sport, right? How nervous were you? Tell me the truth, Najib. How nervous were you when you started filming and you started working with Mansoor Khan? How nervous were you about how well you could actually deliver something like this?
Anybody would be nervous. It's such a huge production, such a huge film. Anybody would have been nervous. So was I. But I was an assistant for quite a long time. And I have been doing flash work. Flash work is like, supposing I'm assisting a cameraman and he has 2 films on floor. And both the shootings go inside. So he goes at one place and sends me to the other place. So that made me quite comfortable, I was quite confident. But still, since it was an entire responsibility, and when you get the first film, you don't get all, whatever lights and stuff you want.
Yeah.
So obviously I was nervous. I wanted to, somehow do a good job. And plus shooting, when we were shooting in Ooty, every half an hour, 1 hour, the climate would change. It would be sunlight. Next moment it is cloudy. Then it would rain. But cloudy and sunlight and soft light, we shot continuously. Now the main problem was to match this. Matching this, otherwise, see, if I wasn't experienced, then the film would totally look patchy. One bright shot, one normal shot. But to match this requires experience. That worked, and that helped me a lot.
Wow. Did you feel pressurized having Nasir Saab as the producer? And I think Khan was quite well established by then, wasn't he?
They were very big producers. They were distributors, a very big name. And of course, the responsibility of shooting was on my shoulders. So I was just called in and said, this is your first bride. see that things go right. Like,
yeah. And obviously, by then, Nasir Hussain had a huge body of work that had been done, in the 70s and the 80s, with some of the biggest stars, like Dharminder and whatever. So, and great music has always been associated with Nasir Hussain's productions. So,
yes.
and also, as I was saying, Aamir Khan was already an established actor by then, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had done one film before that with Mansoor.
Holy. He was a kid in that.
Which film?
Holy? No.
No. Before Jo Jeeta, he had done one film with Mansoor.
Or the one with the song Papa Kehte Hain.
Papa Kehte Hain, correct.
That film, yeah. Okay, I can't remember the name now. I've gone blank, but yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. So this was great.
Qayamat se Qayamat Tak.
Qayamat se Qayamat Tak, of course. Yeah. So now there is one thing that has always been talked about when it comes to that film. There is one thing that has become it's a classic film, but there's an iconic moment in that film that it has been referred to by even some of the film critics in India have referred to that it is the only song and perhaps the best song that has captured the feeling of falling in love through the song Pehla Nasha.
Pehla Nasha.
Yeah, so I mean, that's where I think you increased the frames per second, if I'm not mistaken, when you captured the song.
Yeah, it is like when you increase the speed of the camera, that is, you increase the frames per second, it will appear slow on the screen. It is reverse. It appears slow on the screen. So similarly, what we did was we doubled the speed of the camera. Camera runs at 24 frames per second. To be a little technical, camera runs at 24 frames per second, and sound runs at 7.5 IPS. Now IPS is inch per second. So we increase the speed of the sound to 15 IPS and the camera to 48 frames per second. So now what happens is, see, all Indian actors mouth the lyrics of the film, but it is easy for them to lip sync because it is at a normal speed. But when you raise the speed, like for example, I'm not a singer, but I'll just tell you, the song was Pehla Nasha. But when you increase the speed, Aamir Khan had to sing Pehla Nasha. He had to sing it so fast. And acting was normal. So that is how you sync the lip with the sound and the action. So that was the difficult part.
So staying on that song, by the way, and I wish we had the rights to play a part of it to our global audience, but if I'll put the link at the end of the podcast. But the magic happened between you, Farah, and Mansoor, I'm assuming, right? This was the heart of the song. So who came up with the idea on how the song should be picturized? Whose idea was it? Was it Mansoor saying that, he wants to have it like in a dreamy sequence, and then he left it to you and to Farah to execute it? Or, how did that collaboration happen?
See, the idea was of Mansoor. Mansoor is technically very good. So it was Mansoor who decided the entire song will be shot in high speed. My execution depended on me and Farah. So, see, with the right kind of lighting, mood lighting, the right angles, the right framing, and the right mood of the actor. Slow motion always makes it look very romantic, So the entire generation, went on with it.
But even today, Najib, and I don't have to say this, even today, it's considered to be one of the best, well-picturized love ballads in our Indian film industry. And I think you're aware of that. It is. Yeah. Even today. And there's even a scene, when Aamir Khan falls onto his knees on the top of a hill, and there's a backdrop, and there's a bird that flies out in the backdrop. just adding
Yeah.
to that whole flavor. So was that bird accidental, or was it actually Mansoor Khan saying, I want a bird in the background?
No, that wasn't. Well, that was accidental.
Oh,
And then it.
wow. Okay, that's really nice. Okay. Well, what a great, and I'll put the link at the end of the podcast to all our global listeners. It's one of the most beautifully romantic songs ever captured in the Hindi film industry, at least. So, just to move on then, uh, you've been in the industry for 30 odd years, and you've been in the industry for 30 odd years. You've done close to
More than
sorry,
more than that.
more than that now. Oh, sorry, my bad. And how many films have you worked on at the last count as a DOP?
I don't remember. Should be more than 40, 45.
Wow. Yeah. And some of these films are not small films, are they? Like huge blockbusters.
Yeah. Films like Aatish, Lawaris, Gadar. Big films.
Aatish was the one with Sanjay Gupta, right? Sanjay F. Gupta.
That was his first.
That was his first film. And I remember very clearly there was a song with, I think, Atul Agnihotri on a motorbike, and there was an aerial shot of the song, and it was cut in chops. That also stood out as something we had not seen on our screens before that. Yeah,
He shot it in Mauritius.
it was shot in Mauritius, correct? Okay. So, what were some of the challenges, Najib, that you've had to face in the industry?
Challenges in the industry are only time bound. You need to finish the work in limited time. There are actors. Our Hindi film industry, I'm sorry to say, is not very well organized. So it all depends on the actors. They come at a particular time and they have to leave on a particular time, and that is when you have to crack the entire scene. So that is the only main pressure in the industry.
And how do you cope, especially when you're doing outdoors, and you have the challenges of actors not turning up on time or only turning up for a few hours, and you're running against a deadline. How do you manage the lightings in a situation like this?
See, once you know a certain things going to happen, like supposing it's an evening scene and the actors arrive in the afternoon or in the morning, they do one scene and then they go to rest and come back at 4:30. You have 1.5 hour light. So you keep your other lamps also ready. You select a place where supposing the lights go off, where the sunlight is gone down, then you select a corner where you can manage the close-ups. So, you have to prepare yourself thoroughly, because they won't come the next day to shoot again the entire thing just for, if a couple of shots are left, you can't shoot it the next day. You have to manage it on the same day. So you have to be clever enough. You shoot it at certain angles, and then supposing these shots are left, you place it in the corner, make it the entire, day lighting, and shoot it. Outdoors, it's very difficult to create day unless until the background is not very wide. If the background is covered and stuff, then it's okay. So against that, and there are certain tricks, like you take the character far away from the background, take a tight close so that the background is blur.
Yeah.
So you can cheat the background.
Okay.
If you take the character away from the background and take a tight close of him with a tele lens, the background goes blur. So only a few, like if there are trees, if there is little green in the background, it will match. So that is how we have to manage.
Okay. So, Najib, now obviously in the past 40 odd years, the industry has evolved a lot. New technologies, it's more digital, So the way to even capture, the way we edit everything, now basically, as you talked about, your first film was being showcased in the screening room. and Nasir Hussain Saab happened to go into there. These days, it all happens in little cubicles with somebody sitting behind a computer and doing edits and all that. So that whole dynamics has changed. The volume of work has changed with so many things being done for the silver screen, for the OTT platforms. Television is a huge industry in our country and all of this. So there's a whole lot of work that's happened, but there's a whole lot of young people coming into the industry and also working behind the lens. What advice would you give to these people who are just looking to come into the industry, who have just come into the industry and trying to work behind the camera?
Well, it has become quite easy for the newcomers these days, because earlier in our times, we never had a monitor on the set. It was only the cameraman who would peep through the camera, would know whether the shot visually is okay or not. Acting wise, the director used to see the performance, and visually the cameraman used to see through the lens. And we would only come to know after a week or so, after the negative was developed and printed, we would come to know what it is. But today we have monitors, it is digital. Every other person, every phone has a camera. So it's right there while shooting on the monitor, you can decide whether the lighting, if the director wants a little change or the cameraman wants a little change in the lighting, framing, whatever. And earlier we used to be extra particular while shooting. Okay, some unwanted thing doesn't come in the frame. But today it's easy, you relax, you just shoot, you check it on the monitor. If the frame is right. So these are the things, they become very easy. But at the same time, the working is still tough. As a cameraman's job is very laborious. He has to be on his feet all the while. For a director, he just comes, he shows the shot and he's out. By the time the cameraman, sets up the shot, lights up everything, it takes almost an hour or so. And the director arrives, he takes the shot, shows the next shot, and he leaves. Again, the cameraman is working. So it's a very laborious job for the cameraman. He's the most, working guy on the set. So one has to be, it is all about passion. If you don't have passion, you can't be in this industry. Because working hours are so long. Sometimes it is 18 hours, 20 hours, and again next day morning, same time. So if there is no passion, you can't work in this industry.
What do you think are some of the mistakes that youngsters are doing often in this trade, or at least in this particular form of art? Do you think they rely too much on technology rather than on their own talent? Do you think they look to do a lot of the magic in post-production to cover up their shortcomings as cameramen? What are some of the things you think so? Yeah.
We have something called VFX.
Yes.
That is, in the post, you can correct a lot of things. In post, you can correct. So these days, DOPs mostly, the youngsters, they take things very easy. They think this can be done there, that can be done there. But then ultimately the cost rises. Because if you depend on the post, the cost rises. So actually, they know about VFX, they know about, DI, digital integration. So they think it's too easy. You can just shoot whatever you want. If there is any mistake, it can be corrected later. So that is not professionalism. They have to be little professional. That's what I feel.
And how different is it, Najib, shooting for a screen, for a big screen, and shooting for a web series, for example? Is there any difference in the way photography is handled, or is it one and the same?
Not really. even OTT platforms and even big screens, uh, almost the cameras are the same. They are not different. But only thing is, if you're shooting for a big screen, there is little difference.
Which is what?
Like, difference in the sense everything is so enlarged. And on the OTT platform, it just passes by, some small mistakes won't be registered. They just pass off. But on the big screen, there's so many people sitting in the theater, your concentration is right on the screen. You don't look here and there, So you have to be more particular on the big screen.
Okay, yeah.
Otherwise, the cameras and stuff, lighting and all is the same.
Okay, I can imagine that. So coming back to Najib Khan, the human being, the person. So you're a family man. Are your family your biggest critics, or?
The most cliched answer would be yes, but but I have a son, I have a daughter.
Okay.
And both have joined me.
Oh,
they
wow.
are in the same position. My daughter is elder. She's been working with me for the last 7 years, but now she's independent. And my son has started working with me for the last 2-3 years. So these youngsters, they are always on the net. They are exposed to world cinema. They watch every possible thing. They watch the making also. Now you get to see the making also, of Oscar-winning films and films like that. So they gather all this information, and then it's a big class in the evening. Okay, Dad, this has to be like this. This has to be like this. But one good thing is, because of the digital world today, cameras keep changing every 6 months. New gadgets are introduced. So my kids are well aware of all that, and I get updated because of that. So that's one thing I like.
Oh, wow, that's great. So they get to learn from you and you get to learn from them in some way.
Yeah.
So the legacy continues with your kids. What's their favorite piece of work of their father's work? What do they have any favorites of all the films that
they compare me to Hollywood films, and Dad, you could have done this. Dad, you could have done that.
Of course.
They don't know the conditions I worked in earlier. They don't know the cameras that existed that time.
Yeah. And it used to be all spools, and now it's all digital, correct?
So now it's all digital.
Now it's all digital.
They have never worked on.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
They have never worked on negative films.
Yeah.
First, we used to use negatives, na?
Correct.
Eastman color negative. They have not worked on that. They have straight away in digital. The moment you set up the camera, they see the frame.
Yeah. And then obviously if something's wrong, they'll say, we'll fix it in VFX.
VFX. They know everything now.
So, Najib, besides cinematography, what else are your passions? What else do you like doing?
Mainly, I watch films. I keep watching films on OTT platforms. Some old films, I repeat films. Then I like traveling, and I like
cooking.
Yeah.
So what's one of your signature dishes, Najib?
Not signature dishes, but I can make a lot of different kinds of mutton, chicken. These are the two things I cook.
Are you the official cook in the house?
No, I'm not an official cook. But once in a while I get into the kitchen and I try different things.
Ever cooked on set for your fellow actors and your crew?
Once or twice in the outdoor, but not for the crew. Just for a few, HODs, head of department, when they gather in my room. So I said, okay, I'll cook something today.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Yeah. There's always these lovely stories about everybody on a film set has a separate passion as well. And most of the time, I think because they travel so much outdoors and they kind of miss the food that they get at home and they want to cook it and experiment with it. Yeah, nice. So, Najib, another question that comes to my mind is: ever thought about plunging into being a director?
Yeah, of course. I have been offered also, but but I was a little apprehensive with the subject. So, and now also some talks are going on. I think I'll definitely venture into direction.
Oh wow, can't wait to see what you're going to do, because I think it's been a common transition for a lot of people working behind the camera to actually move into direction as well. It never works the other way around. You'll never see a director becoming a DOP, but it's always the DOP who gets all that knowledge and then does a pretty good job actually in becoming a film director. And another thing I also heard was that a lot of young kids from very affluent families think they can be directors, and in fact it's the cameraman who's actually directing the entire film.
That's what I've done all my life. I have worked with so many new directors. Atish Sanjay Gupta was the first time director. So I had to help him on. There are so many directors I worked who were directing for the first time.
Yeah, talking of that, I mean, Mansoor Khan just decided to move away from filmmaking for some reason. Yeah, I know he came back to help Aamir Khan when he launched Imran Khan. I know he was helping Aamir with that, but he's just such a great talent of a director, technically sound, and he just moved away from it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but he was not really interested in direction.
Okay.
It was his father who pushed him. When he came in and did a couple of films. In fact, I spoke to him last month. He's settled in South, Kurg. Place called Kurg.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, he's settled there. He's, farming and stuff. But I think he'll come to Bombay.
Nice. So, what's on the horizon for you now, Najib? What are you working on? What are you looking forward to work on? What can we eagerly look forward to in terms of your work?
By November, I'll be shooting Gadar 2.
No, this is big news. The Gadar, a sequel to it. Wow. And can I ask whether Sunny Paji is going to be in it?
Yeah, Sunny Paji is there. And the little boy will be the hero. Amisha Patel is there.
No way. This is the original cast.
They have come out with a very good script. I just finished their narration day before yesterday. So, looking forward to shoot that.
Well, I think all of India is going to be holding their breath, waiting to see a sequel to this amazing film that came out. Wow, and with the original star cast as well. That'll be very interesting. So that starts in November, is it?
That should start by end of October or November somewhere.
And can we hope for a 2022 release?
Should be.
Should be.
Count a year after that.
Okay. What else is on the horizon, Najib, for you? I know that you are working on a film with our common friend Ashu.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one film I'm doing. And there are other few films coming, but not as great as the other two. So,
fair enough. What would be great is to see Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar 2.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's hope. Yeah, come on, get Mansoor Khan out of Kurg and try and work on it. That would be incredible. That would be really incredible. And everybody, I think, in that film, they're still around. Yeah, I mean, I know that some of them are not actively involved in the film industry, but they're all still around. I mean, Pooja Bailey is
all
around.
are around.
Aisha Julka is around. Deepak Tijori is around.
Yeah.
Obviously, Amir is around. So yeah, that would be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic. So last but not least, Najib, thank you so much for doing this. But I mean, what else would you like to tell our audience on this podcast?
I mean, regarding films, my work, I think I've told everything. Keep watching films.
Anything you want to tell us would be so appreciated.
I don't know really what to tell. I just wish they keep watching films.
Yeah.
And enjoy the films.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, as long as people like you are responsible for making films, I think there'll always be a need for us to go back into the cinemas, and hopefully watch some great films.
I wish the theaters open up. I wish films are back. And I wish I do good work.
Well, I think your body of work has already proven that, Najib, if I may say so. But yeah, to better work, to many, many, many more years in the industry, to see you become a director, hopefully. Okay, here's a question. When you become a director, who's going to be your DOP? Your son, your daughter, or somebody else? Yeah. This could put you in trouble.
That will be my daughter.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. We look forward to that. So,
any other question from your side?
I was going to ask you one question, which I have kept for the last. Is
okay.
Have you ever thought about doing some work outside of India, like in the West? Yeah. So maybe being a DOP for a Hollywood film, or a European film, or a Korean film, Iranian film. Have you ever thought about that? Sorry?
That's a dream. That's a dream.
Okay.
That's a dream. I get work in Hollywood.
Just Hollywood or anywhere else as well?
Hollywood, Korean, German, any foreign film as a DOP,
Yeah.
So I can prove myself there.
That would be great, Najib. It would be great to see your name on a film from outside of India as well. But thank you so much for your contribution to our cinema. Thank you so much for talking to me, and thank you so much for sharing some little inside stories about your life as a DOP. Thank you so much, and wishing you the very best always.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
And maybe we'll talk again once Gadar Part 2 gets released as well. That will be interesting.
For sure.
Who's going to be the director of that, by the way?
Anil Sharma.
Anil Sharma himself. Wow.
Himself, yeah.
Can't wait. All right, Najib, thank you very much. And I hope that to all our listeners who are there, who are aspiring to get into this industry, I hope you learn something from it. And we look forward to celebrating your work even more, Najib. Thank you so much.
Thank you.